Welcome to another off-road edition of Cars with Big Boy Trev. I am Big Boy Trev.
My name is Mirigi.
And today we have something amazing courtesy of Suzuki, the brand much anticipated Jimny. But first things first,
let's check out the highlights of today's show.
This week on Cars with Big Boy Trev, we have something special just for you. Arguably the toughest mini off-roader in the business, it has finally landed and ready to conquer the Kenyan terrain. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing to you the all-new Suzuki Jimny, now refreshed for 2020. We check out its prominent features, peppy engine, and its robust all-grip 4x4 system. Catch this and much more only Cars with Big Boy Trev.
Hi guys and welcome to Cars with Big Boy Trev. Today we are looking at a bit of a refresh on an iconic off-road vehicle. We are looking at the 4th generation Suzuki Jimny. It's been refreshed to bring it into the 20th century. It's only available as a 3-door and it's a very nice looking car in this fantastic blue color. So beginning in the front over here, you can see we have that traditional grille that harks back to the original Suzuki Jimny, the 1st generation with the slats going all the way down. This of course now is complemented by the bumper in the front here, which is very flat, giving this of course an incredible approach angle. This at the end of the day is an off-road beast. It might be a little small car, 3-door, 1.2 tons, but it's like a mountain goat when you go off the road. You have brand new LED headlights just to make sure that you can see in low light conditions. If it's fog, you have the fog lights at the bottom here, or when you're off the road and you're driving at night, you have these brand new high intensity LED headlamps just to bring, like we mentioned, to the 20th century. Now, moving over to the side of this car, of course, now you can see that square, boxy profile that you are sure will remind you of the Jimny. You can see over here, there's a bit of a design that's harking back to the old 3rd generation Jimny, just to make you remember what this is all about. As you can see here, we have 15-inch alloys. This is also available with 15-inch steel wheels. Now the reason they chose 15 inches is because there's a wide variety of tires that are available, all-terrain, mud terrain, just to make sure that this is an incredible off-road vehicle. Looking at the entire side profile, and you can see what I'm talking about when you talk about its capability as an off-road vehicle. You can see that it has a very aggressive approach angle, an incredible breakover angle, and an even more impressive departure angle. This actually has better angles on these vectors than a Jeep Wrangler, because this is, like I will keep saying, an off-road beast. Now, moving to the side over here, you can see there's a bit of a window just to give people at the back, if they happen to be sitting at the back, some visibility. But in this car, you actually have to make a bit of a choice between whether you want to carry people or stuff in the back over here. Coming to the back, there's more of that design element with the spare tire being fitted to the back. Again, classic Jimny. Just like what they've done, I love what they've done when it comes to the colors of this car. They're all available in very bright, very vibrant colors. And what we have over here is this beautiful metallic blue with a contrast black roof. It looks amazing and it feels amazing to drive. So it's time for us now to check into the car and let Trevor let you know what the interior is like on the Suzuki Jimny.
so guys, today is a beautiful day today and we are sampling the Suzuki Jimny. It's been a long time coming and us at CBBT have been very patient to ensure that we have this car on our hands. It's the first time that's being reviewed on Kenyan TV, so let's get ready to sample this Jimny. Where do we start? The dashboard. Now, you know Suzukis are actually renowned for packaging cars, small cars, creating spaces where there are none, and this one is no different. We've seen with the Ciaz, Espresso, and now with the Jimny, the way they've designed this particular car to create an illusion of space. How do they do that? Number one, creating space using the forward cab design. Now, they've reduced the size of the dashboard to create an illusion of space. So, plenty of that, and of course using different tones. Lighter tones at the top, darker tones at the bottom to create that visual impression that this car has space. As you can see, Big Boy is comfortable. Legroom is fantastic, headroom is good, and of course, plenty of other features that we're going to talk about much later. So let's start with the center console. As you can see, because this particular car has that square off design to give that butch look, that also is being translated with the design of the dashboard. So as you can see here, you have a tabular design. It's a tabular, but it's tabular design, piano black finish, 7-inch display that houses, of course, navigation, radio, and many other things that Mr. Mwirigi, who's a resident tech expert, will give you an analysis of what it can do, and supports Android Auto and, of course, Apple CarPlay features, because this car also is built for the 21st century adventurer. Right below the AC is the toggle style switches that you find on the Jimny. So basically they control the power windows, hill descent control, electronic stability control, and of course many other features and functionalities that Mr. Mwirigi as well will explain. Right below it as well, you do have charging port. So you have a USB and a 12-volt socket, just to enhance the practicality when you're going bundu bashing with this particular Jimny. You don't get stuck because you're able to charge all your gadgets effectively. Again, space is minimal. As you can see, I think this one is either to put your cell phone or your cards. And then you do have this traditional old school style gear shift. This has not changed, by the way, from the Jimnys of the 80s, 90s. This traditional style actually is very funky. Short, stubby, and of course you're able to engage gears quite effectively. For those who don't like driving manual cars, I'm sorry, but this, you have to learn driving this particular Jimny manual. You're going to find out how powerful it is, how capable it is off-road, and then we're going to give you value for money analysis. Obviously you have the traditional handbrake, and of course you have the 2-speed gearbox. So 2 high, 4 high, and then you can engage. Mr. Mwirigi is going to show us much more about that later on. Moving over to the instrument binnacle, this is where matters become very retro. Suzuki are trying to keep this design. It's been there in the 80s. So basically you have 2 dials that are encased in a square enclosure. Basically it's an enclosure, and then it's topped up with piano black finish. And of course on the left hand side you have the tachometer, right hand side you do have the speedometer, and in between you do have a monochrome display that gives you the vital aspects of the car. So range, fuel, temperature, you're able to see that and much more on this retro system. Keep it basic, keep it simple, you're able to see quite a lot. Of course the italics also helps you to read all the information quite clearly, especially when you're driving. Now, steering, as you can see, 3-spoke, amazing design, of course, with the big Suzuki emblem emblazoned on it, and of course you have this stainless steel trim around it, and of course on the satellite buttons. Speaking of that, the satellite buttons control this multimedia information system. So you do have voice recognition. You can control the radio, audio. When you're pairing your Bluetooth, you can actually control your phone and talk with it while just toggling on the buttons on this particular side. On the right hand side, you have the cruise control settings to keep you safe on the road. Remember, we don't speed, you have to maintain your speed on the highway. So the Suzuki guys have done it and made it amazing, so this car has cruise control. Who would have thought a Jimny with a cruise control? I don't know. Times are indeed changing. Now, as you can see, Big Boy is quite comfortable. The seats are supportive, and then, you know, because this car has long stroke suspension, when you're going bundu bashing, lumbar support is important. So as you can see, the lumbar support is good. The seat fabric is amazing. You can easily clean it, and of course you can drive this car for long distance. Headrests as well, just to protect you from whiplash in case of an emergency, and so many other things that are available. The seating style is like stadium style, so you sit like you're like high up, and you can see all the 4 corners of the car. That improves visibility at all times.
When it comes to technology in the Suzuki Jimny, the main focus is this beautiful 7-inch multi-touch display, which is available as an option. So you're actually able to buy the Jimny with or without this display. If you decide that you want to do the hardcore off-roading, you can opt to not have it, but we have it in this system so that you can show you exactly what it can do. So it is the basic standard system that is in all of the Suzukis at the moment, which gives you great functionality, including Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. But it doesn't have a reverse camera available, although this car is small enough for you to just turn around and look at the back by yourself. Now, in addition to that, it actually also has hill descent control, which is pretty interesting considering that the 4-wheel drive system is this old-fashioned one that you put over here down, because this car is a rough, rugged, raw car that is supposed to be the connection between man and machine when you're off the road. So they wanted to make sure that the only technology in here helps to enhance your experience, not to replace anything that you're doing. So the 4-wheel drive system is this old system where you can toggle between 2 high, 4 high, or press it down and engage the transfer case, because yes, this little thing does have a transfer case, proper 4-wheel drive system. But in addition to that, you can actually switch off the traction control. So the fact that this has traction control and hill descent control helps you with driving this car in the urban environment. Coming down to the back of the Suzuki Jimny, and I have to say that we say this all the time, but in this car, you literally have only an option between either carrying people or stuff at the back of this car. There's not too much space at the back here. I'd have to say it is possible to have an adult here on a very short trip, but as I can tell you right now, my back is not feeling very well over here. And this basically being a 3-door car, I would say is really just a 2-seater plus the stuff that you need to carry at the back. Now, Suzuki says that they're working on a 5-seat version of this car, which should be coming at some point in 2021. We're going to have to look at that when it comes to space in the back. But let me put these seats down and show you just how much space there is for the stuff that you need to carry in this Suzuki Jimny. Coming down to the back of the Suzuki Jimny, and this of course now here is the 3rd door. I like the fact that they put the spare tire on the back here. It gives you that butch feel. It reminds you that this is an off-road beast. So opening over here, and like I said, there's not too much space with the seats up. You basically just have a small storage area over here, and you can actually pull this out and have access to the jack and some few things inside here. Now, the key thing to do over here is to put these seats down. And I love the fact that they're covered in this plastic, very hard wearing material. And now this gives you a lot of space in the back here to carry all the stuff that you need to carry when you're on the move, going off-road, going to the middle of nowhere, just you and somebody in the front seat with this amazing, incredible car. Like I mentioned, there's a 12-volt socket at the back here for anything that you need to put at the back here, be it, of course, now a fridge when you're on the move, or a tire inflator if you wanted to do that crazy off-roading that would require you to reduce the pressure on the tires. But it's time for us to take this on the road and see what the Suzuki Jimny is as a driving experience.
So guys, today is a beautiful day. Why? Because we're sampling the brand new Jimny, and I can tell you we've been waiting for this for the longest time. So we've seen how the design aspect is. It still has that retro design of the Jimny of the past years. Of course, the cabin is practical and brand new with brand new features such as Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, etc. But we want to find out how capable this car is on the road. So first things first, we go on tarmac and we sample the engine, the chassis. Then we go off-road with Mr. Mirigi, who's our resident off-road expert, will give us a lowdown on the car. So let's start. What does it have in front? Now basically, this Jimny is based on a box ladder chassis. The reason why Suzuki did not want to do a unibody construction is basically to increase the capability of the Jimny off-road. And of course, they have done some subtle enhancement to ensure that despite it having a box ladder chassis, it also has good tarmac manners, as we call it. This particular car has the similar engine that you probably find in a Ciaz, and of course the different Suzukis that we've tested earlier on cars with Big Boy Trev. It's called the K15B Suzuki engine. So it's built for high efficiency, high power, good torque, especially mid torque. Amazing. So 1.5 liter petrol 4-cylinder, naturally aspirated, producing 74 kilowatts and 130 Newton meters of torque that is sent to the 4 wheels courtesy of the Suzuki All Grip 4x4 system, and it's actually mated to a 5-speed manual. That, doing proper conversion and ensuring that this car has a lot of power, then you are able to return a fuel consumption figure averagely of 6 liters per 100 kilometers, depending on driving style and many other things. But if you want to give the beans like this, it's a free driving engine. You can hear that. It drives quite well. It's aggressive enough, and I'm telling you, this car, amazing. I mean, it's a small, tiny car, but can do amazing things, and goes with the saying, size does not matter. Safety is quite important in any car, and for Suzuki to actually make this car pass the Euro NCAP, the stringent Euro NCAP safety rating, they have done quite a number of things to ensure that the Suzuki Jimny has quite a number of new features. So for example, on the active safety front, you do have hill descent control. That is very good when you're doing off-roading. So it controls the rate of descent when you're downhill, on tarmac, or even off-road. And of course, you do have stability control, which works also on-road and off-road to ensure that you remain safe from harm's way. And obviously, ABS also plays a big role as well, because you have something called off-road ABS that also helps in reducing wheel slip and things like that. But in case all hell breaks loose, then You can rely on the airbag that comes as standard. There are multiple airbags strewn across the cabin, and of course a 5-star safety rating courtesy of Suzuki, so it's actually quite safe to drive this particular car.
Off the bat, the first thing I'm going to say is the fact that this is actually a very, very quiet car when it's at standstill, because it actually, they've done a really good job with the sound deadening in this car. But that's not the reason for the season with a vehicle like this. It's all about the capability, and I have to say, so far it is fulfilling its reputation as a mountain goat. We are just going over everything we need to be doing over here without any problems. The fact that this is a petrol means that the rev range, you need a lot of revs to get the power out of this engine. Maximum torque is available at 4,000 RPM. But so far, I've not had to stretch this engine at all. Considering it's a 1.5 litre petrol, I'm very, very impressed with what it's doing so far. The other thing is that this is actually bringing back to mind why we do things like this, because being in full control of this car is such a breath of fresh air. We've driven very many cars off-road, and it's all about the off-road setting that you put the off-road modes. But in this car, I am the off-road setting, I'm the off-road mode in this car. So it's my experience that's letting me know exactly what I'm doing with the engine and what I'm doing with the off-road settings. So here we are about to enter what is a bit of a tricky section. So I'm going to stop the car, put it into neutral, and engage the low range transfer case. Now, this is the thing that basically separates the men from the boys when it goes to doing things off-road, because now this pulls the full power of the engine to all 4 wheels. Now, the Suzuki Jimny does not have differential lockers, but I have to say the traction system, they call it all grip, has done a really good job of making sure that every tire that needs traction gets it. So what this car is capable of doing is that it can brake each and every individual wheel to make sure that the wheel on the opposite side of the axle gets power. And so far, we've not had any problems with traction whatsoever. So I have to say the all grip system that Suzuki has done a very good job for substituting for the lack of a differential. But I think the fact that this car is so light and so incredibly capable has made it fantastic for this setting. Now, the other thing that happens is that when you put it into low range, it automatically switches off the traction control. So it gives you full manual control of the vehicle. And just like the other off-road vehicles, let's see if it can pull itself with a low range gearbox using this 1.5 litre engine. So I want to see if this car can pull itself in the low range mode, just like we did with the Navara, just like we did with some of the other off-road vehicles. We want to see how powerful this 1.5 litre engine is when you mate it with this low range gear. So the first thing I'm going to do is put the car into neutral and then put the car into low range. So I'm going to give it a few moments to do that. And then I'm going to see if I can creep or crawl this vehicle down this setting. So just put it in first gear. First thing that I can do is I can actually leave the accelerator and the car can pull itself. So right now we are on a bit of a tricky section. So I'm actually going to get out of the car. And as you can see, the car can actually pull itself on its low range setting on this off-road course. So all I'm going to do now is just steer the vehicle. And as you can see, it might be a 1.5 litre engine, but you have to remember that this car only weighs about 1.1 tons. And so this engine is perfectly mated with this body and the dimensions of this car to make sure that it is incredibly capable off the road. So the 1.5 litre engine might be a small engine, but it is just enough power to pull this car through any obstacle that it might encounter. One of the advantages of this car being very small is the fact that it has a very tight turning circle. So I can actually show you right now that whether you're on or off the road, you're actually able to go around and park or go around obstacles as easily as possible. So like you can see, the fact that it has an 88-inch wheelbase means that it is incredibly maneuverable. So it will get you in and around the urban jungle. Very easy to park this car, and it's very easy to maneuver this car when you're off the road.
So guys, you've taken the Jimny through the paces, and I can tell you, it doesn't disappoint. It still lives on to the heritage of its tough 4x4 nature, still has the same DNA, rigid axles, suspension, etc. But Mr. Mwirigi, what are your highlights of this car?
Well, the thing is, we've driven quite a number of cars, and you can see that technology has gone very forward. So it's all about now putting the car into a mode and then letting the car figure itself out. It's been a very long time since it's just been me, the machine, the locker, and you go.
Yes.
So I really like what this thing has done, because it makes you connected in a way that I can't describe. Because it's just you and this little thing and this fantastic engine.
Yes.
And it's so much fun, this car.
It's just balance.
It is so much fun, and I like the fact that you're in control of everything. Especially if you get in the manual, you put it in follow, nowhere you can go, and you know exactly what's happening because you can feel everything this car is doing. It is an experience.
Now, how much does it cost on the road?
Well, prices for this car start at 2.65 million shillings. Now, this car is available in a wide range of options. So you can get it as a manual or with an automatic, and then you can get it with the radio or without the radio. So the prices start at 2.65 million. But this unit we have right now, this one in this blue, is available from CMC Kenya. Special offer only available until December for 2.75 million. That's the manual with that fantastic screen over there.
Now, it also comes with a 3-year, 100,000 kilometer warranty, whichever comes first. And if you're looking at, satisfying that boyhood dream of being a 4x4 champion, well, look no further. The Suzuki is actually the best vehicle for you. But what are the key rivals in this segment, if there are any?
Well, I mean, the thing about this is that the rivals that are in this price point, there's really nothing. Because I would say it has a heritage that can match, in my opinion, the Land Cruiser. It can match the Jeep. It can match even the Defender in terms of the off-road heritage that it has. But at this price point, I'd probably say the Renault Duster is the only thing that still gives you a manual and a four-wheel drive, but it doesn't have a transfer case like this one does. So honestly, I would say probably, if you push me very hard, I'd say the Renault Duster, but I don't think that this even has, I don't think this has a rival. For the amount of money you spend on this car, you would have to spend tens of millions more to get this same experience. And I have to say, honestly, they've done an amazing job. If you have the money, come to CMC and buy this car. That's all I have to say, honestly.
Wow, guys, do you reckon this particular Jimny is as capable as the very far-fetched rival? Send us your thoughts at the social media notes below. We'll get back to you next week with the feedback. Thank you so much for joining us on Cars with Big Boy Trev. Until next week, drive safe.
Be safe.